Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tanya Ray, and today we're doing a pick a card reading for July 2025. But if you're watching this at any other time and you feel drawn to it, go ahead and stick around because there's obviously a reason. Always trust your intuition. And with that said, when trusting your intuition, if you feel like a message is not for you, never make it fit. However, sometimes it's a good idea just to look a little bit deeper at why you're feeling triggered or resistant to the message, just to make sure that it's not trying to uncover a deeper truth in you. That said, I'm not trying to convince you that my messages are the right ones, nor are any other readers, because you know what is for you and what isn't. Let me say it again. Always trust your own inner knowing, your intuition. With that out of the way, let's look at our options here. So take a deep breath in, let it out, and focus in on these three piles right here. Don't second guess what comes through, but let me just tell you what the crystals are. On pile number 1, we have a howlite. On pile number 2, there is a goldstone heart. And on pile number 3, there is an adventuring heart. Now I'm going to go silent for a minute so that you can tune in and pick the one that you're drawn to, usually first. All right, if you need more time, please go ahead and pause this, but let me reiterate that often it's your intuition that's telling you which pile to pick. First instinct, whether that is you feel it, you just know it, you see something, hear something, sense something, that's your pile. Or you can listen to them all if you really want to. All right. Like I said, go ahead and pause because we're going to get into group number 1 with the Hololight. Welcome back, group 1. This is your reading if you chose the first pile, as well as that Howlite crystal that you can see at the top left corner there. And as you can also see, I have already pulled the cards, and this was because I started to record while shuffling and realized it's actually really hard to get the spread out that I wanted in the middle of recording. So instead of making you watch me move the cards around, I just went ahead and drew them, and we'll unpack them together. Let me know if that bothers you because I am genuinely curious. I know that some people have strong feelings about I want to watch the reader pick the cards, and actually a lot of my pick cards you don't see that because I'm using the same deck for every single one, so I have to pre-choose the cards. But yeah, I'm always curious, I'm always open to feedback, but also I would love feedback on this format of reading. It's a little bit more structured than a lot of my readings are, so I had a lot of fun coming up with it, and yeah, let me know if it resonates for you. With that said, you can probably see that in the middle here, the Emperor is turned over. The Emperor represents the main theme or energy for July for you in group 1. And July looks like a month of building and or reinforcing structure in your life. This is a leader energy and a doer energy because the Emperor represents masculine energy. It's a month of building strong self-confidence and standing in that. So in other words, this month is about actually taking action on things as well as pulling on your knowledge and putting plans into place that build a strong foundation for the future. It's a month of standing in your power and setting appropriate boundaries and leading with intention, as well as, like I said, taking action. That said, this next card that I'm turning over represents your health for the month. And when I say health, please don't panic. I am not diagnosing. I'm not telling you ever going to tell anyone that anything's wrong. And while we're on the topic, these readings are for entertainment and information purposes only. Okay? So the health card here is the Four of Swords. And while the Emperor might be coming out hot out of the gate and the advice is to get moving and standing tall, it's still important to take time to rest and recoup. If you have felt particularly tired or have an inkling that your mind, body, or spirit is trying to communicate something to you, now is the time to tune in and listen to that. Of course, if you have major concerns, also go seek the proper attention for that, not just tuning in. But this card is definitely saying tune in and give yourself that time. The Emperor does things with intention, like I've already mentioned. Setting the intention to get proper sleep or rest is actually productive. Remind yourself of that if you're the type of person who likes to work, 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 work. Taking rest actually is productive. Also, this could be an indicator that it's time to set a regimen of practice around self-care. So maybe you're somebody who has wanted to take up a regular meditation routine or a proper sleep routine or something like that. Now is the time to actually put that into place when you have the Emperor energy on your side. Because, like I said, it's about putting practices into play. It's about building structures and that sort of thing. So with that said, the next card is the wealth card. And when I say wealth, I mean anything about abundance, all kinds of abundance, as well as finances and career. And you have the Wheel of Fortune in this group. So the Wheel of Fortune paired with the Emperor, it's giving good vibes to me. There's a really good chance that there's going to be a change in your financial situation and or career. Like I said, it's likely to be a positive change as long as you're willing to take aligned action to make it happen. Now is not the time to sit and wait for the universe to deliver, but to make the moves. So, for example, if you want a new job, the bare minimum that you have to do is put in an application, right? The universe isn't going to do that for you. Yes, there's instances where you can be offered a job out of the blue. It has happened to me before when I didn't put an application in, but most of the time, you have to do some of the work, and the Emperor is like, we are doing the work and we're going to help that wheel spin in the direction that we want it to go to give us good fortune. This is also giving that there's an indication that your role might shift as well. So if you're staying in the same place, the same job, you might be stepping into more of a leadership or managerial role, or just making more money, being recognized for your contributions and even getting a raise or something like that. The main message that I'm hearing is create your own luck. So going back to how do we create our own luck? By stacking our odds in our favor, by taking the actions needed, etc. Just a word of caution though, engaging in shady practices or refusing to take action and all of that could result in the wheel spinning in the opposite direction, resulting in undesired shifts in your work or finances. So, really good motivator here, I feel like, to put yourself out there to keep doing the work that you do and to be doing it in an honest way and in a fair way if you're already, for example, in some sort of leadership role. All right, so next is love life. This is for everyone, whether you are seeking love, already in love, or don't really care. It's still for you, I promise. So we've got the Eight of Cups going on in this card, in this category. And like I said, this is whether you're actively in a relationship or would like to call one in or are perfectly fine the way you are. This is indicating that it's time for a shift. If you're currently in a relationship, you might know that there have been red flags or that it's time to walk. This doesn't always mean that you have to leave the relationship, but there is something from the past that is asking to be left there so you can walk into the new or walk into a new. Please don't ever take these words as a sign to put any abusive behavior in the past and continue on, though. I'm talking about past arguments and feelings that have long since passed and either need to be healed or it's time to question whether or not they can be healed and whether it's better for both of you to choose to move on or to continue. And the Emperor is calling for setting boundaries that are straightforward and strong. Remember that setting boundaries means that others around you are also allowed to set their own boundaries. So opening that up for conversation, not just telling them this is how it is. But that doesn't mean that it should ever compromise or challenge your boundaries. So theirs should not negate yours, is what I'm saying. That's not setting boundaries. So whether you're in a relationship or not, there's a call to let go of something. This could be old versions of yourself, especially where you're holding onto a disempowering view. The Emperor says it's time to stand in your confidence and recognize who the F you are. Don't settle for anything less than what you truly desire. And this could very well be about your own self love journey this month, more so than a relationship with anyone else. So it might not be really about anyone else. I'm not getting a strong sense that new love is coming in this month for group ones necessarily, but the Eight of Cups isn't really about what you're leaving behind so much as it's actually about what you're walking toward. You're making that conscious decision to leave that in the past so that you can open up new opportunities, which means that in choosing to let go, you are likely opening the door to new people or a different experience in your current relationship. So I know it can be a little bit overwhelming or alarming for people when a card like that shows up in love and relationships, but it's actually a really good sign that things are going to start moving in a desired direction, no matter what that actually looks like specifically for you, as long as you choose to let go of the things that you know it's time. And I really feel like for most, if not all of you, you already know what those areas are. So it's not some kind of surprise coming up. All right. So this next category is clarity. So anywhere in your life that you're seeking a little bit more clarity or guidance on, this one's for you. So we have the Magician. And wherever in your life you need answers, the answers are within. I know, I know. This is what they all say, and it probably gets really tiring hearing it, but the magician is resourceful, and so is the emperor. They are both strong in the ability to manifest their desires through taking action and utilizing their resources. You don't need more education, tools, or someone else to provide you with the clarity. Instead, remember the tools you already have in your toolbox and utilize them. Whatever it is you're trying to create or gain clarity on, these cards are saying remember the tools you already have and the structures you've already put into place. So we're not reinventing the wheel here. This is already stuff you have. And I know I kind of repeated myself there, but there was a purpose for that. It's already in your wheelhouse. You already have the things you need to gain this clarity. So, with that said, remember what you already know and how things have worked for you in the past, or what things have worked for you in the past, to bring in clarity and utilize those. Okay? I think I've kind of hit that one home. Just remember that everything's within you and it doesn't have to be hard. There's probably a reason if you're seeking clarity on something, there's probably a reason that you haven't received it yet, and it's an overcomplication of things, if I'm being honest. So, and ask me how I know, how I know that one personally. All right, I'll move on. So the next one is lessons. So lessons that you're learning specifically in July, but it could be a little bit more long term than that as well. And this card, it kind of makes me laugh because it's the Eight of Pentacles, which in some ways is about learning lessons, or it's very much about gathering knowledge. This month feels very foundational for group one. Wherever you focus your intentions and actions will grow. So be very intentional about what you're focusing on. But remember that mastery does not happen overnight. Even the emperor himself didn't gain all of his knowledge overnight. He did it by working diligently and taking charge of his own life first and foremost. If there is an aspect of your life you really want to improve, or something you've had a desire to get better at and or learn more about, this is a really great month to do it, to start that and keep at it, because in doing that you are building a foundation for the future. So you're building a foundation. We're talking about the Pentacles, and it's the Eight of Pentacles. So you're diligently building that structure, that practice, and that knowledge for the future. All right. With that said, here's the last bit of advice for group one for the month of July, and it's the Six of Pentacles. So the final advice says, pay attention to balance. Where are you putting in too much effort in one aspect of life and potentially neglecting another? I do feel like sometimes the Emperor energy can really distract us from certain aspects of our lives, because we're kind of leaning toward the word that's coming up is power, but it's not even necessarily that, of wanting success and really wanting to succeed. And that's great, but sometimes we can forget that the rest is needed, that there's other things. Sorry, this is bothering me. There's other things that are needed beyond just taking the action. The action and the structure and being diligent are important, but so are the other things. So with that, is there a good balance in your life between work and rest? Are you too giving without being open to receive? The Emperor reminds you that this month is about building those habits that can be long lasting. So, what are you waiting for? Allow yourself to assess what is in balance and what needs to be tweaked so that you can see big changes in that. And I really feel like for group ones, whatever you put your intention to and actions behind it to solidify that could be long lasting. I know I've said that so many times, but that's just really one of the main themes, as well as create your own luck. We were talking about wealth when it comes to that, but remember, wealth can bleed into a lot of different areas of life, and especially when it encompasses all of abundance. So, with that said, I hope this message blesses you, and I think I'll go ahead and put some journal prompts in the show notes if you would like to deeper reflect on this reading. And let me know what you think about it, what your takeaways are, what you're excited about for July, and have the most amazing month. I will see you soon. Welcome back to your message, group 2. Your goldstone or sandstone, whatever you want to call it, is up there on the left, and this is your reading for July 2025, or whenever you feel called to hearing it, I suppose. And you might see that it's a little bit different format than my normal readings. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, because it's a little bit more structured, and because of that, I learned the hard way when I was trying to record the group 1 that pre-pulling the cards is a must due to the fact that it's kind of hard to set this up and keep everything in your view with this widescreen format. So you can probably see that there is one card already turned over right in the center there, and that is your main theme for the month for group 2, and it's 8 of Wands. Is really an indication that this month could be a fast paced month for many of you, but more so that this is the month of momentum. Things are going to start moving. Whatever you've been putting your best efforts and intention to is likely what this card is speaking to. This is the month where all of the moving pieces start falling into place. But even with that being the case, even though a lot of this has already been put into motion in some way, it's still really important and a good idea to pay attention to whatever you're putting your intention behind this month. Or, leading into July if you're watching this shortly before. I apologize if you hear my dog walking around. She's pacing right now on the laminate floor. All right, so now that you have your main theme, the way that this is going to go is each of these cards is a category of life and sort of predicting the strongest energy that you can use for the month of July, personally in group 2. So with that said, we've got the 3 of Cups, and this is for health. The first group is for health, and what I will be doing, by the way, is incorporating the main theme energy to the energy of the card in each one of these categories. So connection will improve your health this month. If you've been somebody who has been very like hermit energy lately, this is your nudge to get out there and be a little bit more social, connect with your friends and or community, and have some fun. Celebrate life and the people that mean the most to you. And don't be afraid to ask for support from your crew, especially when the support is needed when it comes to your mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual health. Also, participating in activities that encourage playful movement, like dance or swimming, can be really helpful to improving your overall well being. So, again, just to reiterate, get moving in some way, get out of the house, and build connections or embrace the connections that you have already made. And that's going to actually have a positive impact on your overall well being, your overall health. And I didn't put this disclaimer out to start with, but when I say health or any of these areas of life, this whole entire reading is for entertainment and information purposes only. I am not diagnosing, I'm not telling you anything is wrong or right. This is just energy that we're looking at, and it's for fun, so don't worry, okay? All right. Yes, we all have to say that. The second card is your wealth, and this encompasses all things abundance, and namely your career and finances. And you've got the Fool. So there's something new on the horizon for those of you in group 2. This could be a new job opportunity or role that you're taking on. And paired with the 8 of Wands, it indicates that whatever you say yes to at this time could be a quick turnaround. Make sure that make sure that you're not making reckless decisions with your finances or career, but be open to the possibilities, because the Fool can sometimes act a fool, right? Sometimes a little hasty, but if you are embracing the journey and actually allowing yourself to open to the possibilities, it could be a really good thing for you this month. Don't automatically shut the door on something just because it's new. This might also be an indication that if you're feeling stagnant in your career or money, that it's time to look at things from a different perspective or embrace the unknown and switch something up to get the energy flowing. Overall, this is a good sign for most of you. Let me reiterate that it's important to be clear on your intention and to take action. Balls don't typically roll into motion without being given a nudge. So this is kind of your nudge, is what I'm saying. Especially where finances and career come into play, but also know that this could be some other new financial opportunity or something coming in that way, so in the form of abundance, could be happening in the month of July as well. All right, next we have love life, and don't mind me while I mess up all of the cards while I flip that one over. So we have the 10 of Pentacles in this spot, and this is relevant whether you are in a relationship, would like one, or are quite content by yourself, okay? This is still for you, so don't tune out or do whatever you want, but I suggest you don't. The 10 of Pentacles indicates that for those of us who are in a relationship, this is one of that has potential. This one has potential for longevity and stability. Family expansion, so maybe a new one on the way, or marriage, or something like that. And an emphasis on balance and security. And paired with the 8 of Wands, this might mean that there's a big move happening within the relationship. This could be a physical move, and maybe even purchasing a forever home or a starter home, a new home. It could be a marriage ceremony or a proposal, or like I said, maybe a new little one coming into play, but something that is sort of planting roots into the relationship, and something that we would consider a serious move, I would say, for many of you. Now, obviously, this is generalized, so that doesn't mean that it's going to happen in every relationship just because you're in a relationship. but it's probably something that's likely to happen in this group. And for those of you who are looking for love, I'm feeling like July might be your month, but be aware that this is giving potentially moving too fast or just moving really fast. It might not be too fast energy, as well as attracting partners that might want a really serious and long lasting relationship. They're looking for that, which, of course, for a lot of us is not a bad thing, but it's just important that you know what you want. If you're just looking for fun or you're not really sure, be clear on that. And alternately, be mindful of pushing too hard for things to move fast or get too serious right out of the gates. Pentacles is all about the long haul, so it's okay to take your time and let things build naturally. And the Eight of Wands doesn't urge you to act in haste, but instead to take action towards things that you want so that you get the ball rolling. So if love is something that is on your list of wants, put yourself out there this month. That would be what the Eight of Wands is trying to say here. This can also be about building a strong foundational relationship with yourself. If self-love is your goal, take actions on building a solid practice. This is an indication that what you put into play now in this month will pay off in the future. So focusing on that if that's something that you've wanted to create more of in your life, or a stronger, solid practice. All right, let's look at clarity. So this is about any areas of your life that you might feel stuck on and are seeking clarity on, or anywhere that maybe this month is going to shine light on. And I just want to say we have 2 10s in a row. This is giving a breakdown before the breakthrough energy, especially with the 10 of Wands right here. But listen, I'm not implying you have to hit rock bottom or anything like that. This card is representative of where you're asking for more clarity, like I said, and or where clarity needs to be shown. In this case, group 2, what are you giving your energy to that is only serving as a distraction or only creating more confusion? Are you carrying other people's opinions and burdens like they're your own when really they're not? It's time to take a deeper look at all of the baggage you're dragging around with you and let that shit go. This can also be about delegating responsibilities when you've taken on too much and trusting that you can actually ask others for help as well, and you don't have to do it all yourself, or letting responsibilities go altogether that really aren't serving a bigger purpose in your life. Also, if you're carrying old stories about yourself that aren't matching the places you want to go in your life, it's time to look at those and let them go, take action on that. And the more willing you are to take action on this or to action this, and the lighter your load, the more breakthrough energy you are likely to experience this month. So, like I said at the start of this month has real breakthrough potential for a lot of you, but you have to action it. It's not just going to come in if you are waiting for the universe to do it for you. Sorry, not sorry. All right. So let's look at what the lessons are for this month. And another thing that I'm more than happy to receive feedback on is, do you like these categories or would you prefer something else in the next month's reading? August's reading. All right. So, this is your lessons that you're learning this month. Let's straighten that out a little bit. That's bugging me. And the lessons you're learning with the Empress, honestly, at first, this might sound a little bit counterintuitive to the main theme, but it's really not. The Eight of Wands is about things going into motion, being put into motion, and picking up speed, possibly. It's an acceleration energy, and it's about taking aligned action to ensure the movement can happen. And the Empress is saying, hey, you don't have to force anything. Allow yourself to go with the flow rather than going against the current. This doesn't mean you don't take action. Instead, it's about being present in the now, being mindful of the direction things are headed and your place in it, your responsibility in it. This lesson is also about conscious creation. What is your true intention and what are you doing to bring it into fruition? Abundance surrounds those who allow themselves to flow with the natural progression rather than trying to force and over control things. So, can you allow more flow but take action within that? Is the lesson. You're learning how to balance those things, basically. And we've got, for the last one, this is parting advice. It's the last advice before we close the reading from the cards for July. And you've got the Chariot. And I've got to say that I love it in a reading when both the Eight of Wands and the Chariot come up, especially when they are in key placements like this, because this is definitely your month to see momentum in many aspects of your life, possibly. It might be just one, but there is this potential to see it in many. And that success is ahead. However, the Chariot reminds you that staying focused and clear on the motive is the most important thing. I know that I sound like a broken record, but this is what keeps coming up. Be aware of the things that might speed up really quickly so you are prepared and can act accordingly. But where things are not moving quite as fast, again, it's not about forcing it into that faster motion. It's probably happening at the speed that it's meant to. When there's so much forward movement, it is important to pay attention to what you're leaving behind as well. The Ten of Wands was talking about this very thing. What are you allowing to stay in the past versus leaving unresolved so that it comes back again in the future? Meaning that you might be like, oh, I've got this momentum going, but then the things keep repeating themselves. And that's because history repeats itself when we don't learn the lessons that were meant to the first time. So just taking a look at that and not being in avoidance to it is going to be helpful to you in the long run. Don't think that you can outrun your past if it's left unresolved. I really want to hit that home. So this is a really great month. I'm feeling, at least for group twos. I kind of wish this was my reading for myself because I know that I can utilize the advice here, but it's not my chosen reading. It's not the one I chose. So good luck to you, group twos. I hope you have the most amazing month. Please let me know in the comments what resonates. I will probably go ahead and put some journal prompts in the show notes for you guys too. So go ahead and look there after the reading. And I hope that you have the most amazing month. If I didn't say that already, I will see you soon and have an amazing day. Welcome back, Group 3. This is your reading if you chose that Adventuring Heart up on the left and this awesome deck. She's my ride or die. And I am doing this reading a little bit different than the other readings if you've tuned into them before. So let me know how you like this structure. As you can see, I have already put the cards out because I learned when I was trying to record the first group that it's really hard to get them all in the frame designed this way, but there's a very specific reason that I wanted it laid out sort of this way in the spread rather than just straight across like I normally do. And it's because I wanted to highlight that card that's already flipped over, which is the Six of Swords in this particular reading. That represents your main theme for the month of July. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoy this format, if you are returning from other readings. And this is more like the format that people get when they get a private month forecast reading from me. So, with all of that out of the way, like I said, Six of Swords represents your main theme, and what I will be doing is incorporating that into each one of these cards that represents a separate theme in your life. So, the main theme for the month of July for group 3 feels like this is a sign that you've probably been through it and you're still a little bit in the rough waters, but there's stillness and light on the other side. This means that there's calmer waters on the other side. This is not an invitation to bypass feeling your big feels, though, okay? So if you're still in the storm, allow it. There might still be some heaviness to process through, but on the other side, things will lighten up. This is giving emotional healing, especially if you've experienced grief, detachment, anxiety, overthinking, or depression recently. Again, this month feels like it is about mental, emotional, spiritual, and possibly even physical healing, as well as seeing the efforts taken in the past towards healing starting to pay off. So anything you've already put towards your healing journey, starting to see movement there and moving into the calmer waters. With that said, let's look at our first category, which is health. And I have to say this, just to be clear, I am not diagnosing anything. These readings, every single one of them, are for information and entertainment purposes only. Okay? I especially want to say that around health, but it's true for everything. All right, so for your health, this encompasses all well-being, by the way. The card High Priestess is popping up here. The High Priestess asks you to trust your intuition on all things related to overall well-being, and especially in this month. There might be subtle messaging trying to come through right now. Given that the Six of Swords is the theme, I wouldn't be surprised if much of this is related to mental or emotional health. But it's always a good idea to tune into what's going on in your physical body as well, especially because the physical body can store our unprocessed emotions and manifest into pain and dis-ease. Overall, I'm getting the message that this month is for healing in group 3. Possibly healing something that took an extreme emotional or spiritual toll on you. So there's relief coming. It's not quite here yet, but it does feel like it's coming. The main message is allow yourself time to pause, to tune in, and get connected with your body. What whispers do you hear when you allow everything else to go silent. And beyond that, for your mental health, your emotional, your spiritual health, even your physical health, is there anything that you want to add when it comes to meditation practice and your connection to yourself, your connection to higher self, God, source, whatever, spiritual connections, also anywhere in there that you feel like you might want to adjust things? This is the month to do that. All right, the next one is wealth. Whoops, let's just mess up the whole spread here while we do that. It's wealth, and this is a representation of all things abundance as well as career and finances. So we've got the Four of Cups here, and with that, you might be in this spot in your life, group 3, where you're dealing with a little bit of dissatisfaction or detachment from your career and or something to do with your finances, and maybe not wanting to really take a deeper look at them. And you might be asking, what else is out there for me? Is this really it? I'm getting that sort of energy. And if you're resonating with this message and something feels like it's causing you to withdraw, perhaps it's time to allow yourself to actually take that pause. Do withdraw a little bit and let yourself connect into what's actually going on. So I'm not talking about a pause so you can stay disassociated, but more so, can you withdraw from some of the noise so that you can gain clarity on where to go next? And this could just be a mindset thing too, of just shifting the mindset and getting clear on like what belief systems, and things like that are, what thoughts are creating this disconnect. And the withdrawal could be a sign that something is being repressed around your work and finances. I think I already said that a little bit, but just to remind you to look at what that is. A lot of the time I feel like it's going to be a feeling of being underappreciated or overlooked, be that you're not getting paid enough or other people are getting recognition, that sort of thing, or you've been putting the time in and no one is acting grateful, or you just feel like there's something more out there for you. And that's okay. This isn't necessarily the month that I would take big action in changing the situation. More so, it's about allowing yourself to reflect on what is really causing the feelings of apathy. Alternately, it's possible that a change of perspective is all that is needed. And I say all in air quotes. I did talk about this at the start too. A change of perspective, a change of mindset. So looking at, what are you grateful for? What does get you excited about making the money or doing the work that you do, etc.? And is that something that possibly changes your mindset around it? And if this isn't resonating with you and you're perfectly happy with your career and financial situation, then this message is more so a reminder of what I just said about gratitude, because having more gratitude and celebration for the abundance that's coming into your life will only invite more of the same. Plus, it feels really good to be in that energy. So, I know a lot of the time people want clear advice or clear predictions on, am I going to get more money? Am I going to get a new job, etc.? And My soft answer to the first one, I've already said that it's not necessarily the time to make big decisions around career because it's time to tune in and to see where things are a little bit misaligned or out of balance first and get really clear on that versus making a rash decision. Try, especially if you're in avoidance of feeling the feels. The other thing that I would say is changing your financial situation is possible for group threes. It's always possible, right? But there is a good possibility that you could change that if you change the way that you're looking at things. If you're looking at it from a place of lack or lacking gratitude, then it's probably not going to happen. But if you actually change that to gratitude and having a gratitude practice and being really happy and excited about money and the things coming into your life, then you do have the possibility of changing that this month, I feel like. All right, the next one is our love life. And oh my goodness, we've got the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is in the spot indicating that you might be in a pause in some way, or that it's good to allow yourself that pause. Man, we are having quite the theme in this reading, aren't we? When it comes to love and relationships, allowing yourself that stillness, that pause. The Hanged Man isn't necessarily an unpleasant pause, though. It's an invitation to let yourself feel your feels. Again, a theme. and gain clarity on what it is that you truly want. Another theme. This pertains to active relationships, people seeking relationships, and those who are perfectly happy on your own. So, no matter where you are on that, it's good to check in on what you truly want and is that the truest true? Or are you telling yourself something, telling yourself a story because you're avoiding feeling? The main theme for this month is healing. And because of that, it's not really a great month to make big decisions when it comes to romantic relationships. And it's also not necessarily a month that you will meet someone new. And back to the decisions piece, obviously, if you've already known that something needs to change, then do it. But this is when you're kind of stuck in confusion. It's time to go within and tune into what it is that you truly want. Those of you who are healing from heartbreak specifically, this is your reminder to allow yourself to actually do the healing so you can move on. Allow yourself some stillness. Saying that word way too much here, but allow yourself that time to be still, to be present, and open up your energy so new can come in. And the big message that I'm getting for group 3 in love is it's a not quite yet, because there's things that still need to be seen or felt and processed. If you're in a relationship, what this looks like is giving yourself the time if there's any confusion, any disconnect or imbalance, giving yourself some time to tune within and see what needs to be seen. Much of this month is really contemplative for group 3, and that's okay. I'm not saying that it's a good idea to get lost in your head, though. This isn't your excuse to overthink and just be lost in your thoughts, but this is the month that you might just need to focus on tuning into yourself and building a stronger connection, a stronger relationship with yourself and a more loving one, since we're talking about love here. And it's really a possibility to build that stronger connection with yourself because of all of the tuning in that you'll be doing and all of the self-healing. All right, so the next card that I'm flipping over represents clarity. And what I mean by that is anywhere that you are trying to seek clarity in your life, any areas that you're trying to do that, this can give you some clues on how to get there, as well as it might shine light on areas that need to be seen or are asking to be seen in this month. And I'm not surprised that we have the Hierophant in this space. And all of the other placements that we've talked about this month feel like connection to your inner world, as well as personal growth. You will find it in the pause that comes from the Hanged Man, and even the High Priestess and the Hierophants that we're talking about now. So what I'm saying about find it, I mean you will find the clarity when you embrace that. Your guidance comes from within. I know. Repeat. Your guidance comes from within, and the more structured your practice, the more likely things will be clear to you. So maybe that's really having a structured meditation practice or journaling practice or a combination of both, whatever feels right for you. And if there's something that you've been pondering, tune back into yourself and dedicate time to being still. I hope no one's playing a drinking game on how many times I say still or stillness or pause in this reading, but to being still and to listening. We're not forcing anything. We're just being present. We're listening. Also connecting back into your traditions. So if you have any ceremony, any ritual that has been useful or that you've cultivated over time, and especially if you've stepped away from that, tuning back into that and connecting back into that might be very helpful this month specifically, and in helping with this pause and healing month. All right, let's move on because we're just repeating words here. Let's see if there's any fresh energy coming in for this one. Is representative of lessons or lesson that you are learning this month. And this is really interesting because this is the second group that got Eight of Pentacles in this spot. And it's kind of funny. It makes sense because it's kind of literal if you think about it. The Eight of Pentacles can mean learning and doing your due diligence with the purpose of becoming a master. And so literally learning is your lesson. And it's about your learning based on what you're putting your energy, time, and focus to. Due to the underlying message that this month is all about personal growth, be that spiritual, mental, emotional, intellectual, or all of the above, this card is specifically talking about putting in the time and effort and focusing on the area or areas you seek growth in. It happens over time when you work diligently. It's not an overnight shift, but the practices that you build now will serve as foundations for growth and deeper connection to self down the road. Brick by brick, you are building your future self, so do it with intention. So, really, though, when we bring it back to lesson, what are you learning about this month? You're learning about yourself. And I know that sounds cliche, it sounds silly a lot of the time. And what does that really mean? But in really digging in and connecting deeper with your inner knowing, you are understanding yourself more. And it might not feel that way in the moment. You might not feel like you're making progress, but look back a couple of months from now or from July and see how much you've grown personally. And you might not even recognize yourself. We'll see. All right. So the final one is actually the advice card, and it's the final advice for the month. And I've told some of the other groups, if not all of them, all or both of them, I should say, that if you are not really liking the categories that I have chosen, please in the comments tell me what you would prefer to see, because I would love to know the answer to that. So, this last one, like I said, is the final or parting advice for July from the cards. And you've got the Nine of Pentacles. That's funny. We've got the 8 and the 9 next to each other. And hey, don't worry, this month might feel a bit challenging. Stillness can feel challenging. It can be challenging. Looking at our emotions is challenging. But there is such a big reward to be had in allowing yourself time for it. There is success at the end of the road, whatever that looks like for you, and a new sense of self-confidence and independence. In other words, your deep inner work will pay off, and this is the confirmation right here, and that it's building a stronger foundation for you for the future. Keep working, keep doing it. All right, group number 3, I hope this message blesses you. Let me know what resonates, what doesn't, what you're excited about for July in the comments, and I will actually include some journal prompts within the show notes, so be sure to check those out if you want to take this a little bit deeper, and I hope to see you soon. Have the most amazing month.